Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the evening into the early hours of the morning with the program. And we're going to take it to the progressive guest line now. Welcome in our guy, everyone's favorite DFS fantasy football expert. He's also been killing it with some Thursday night props. Tony Cutillo. Tony, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, Joe. How are you, man?
I'm good. What do we got tonight? We got the Philadelphia Phillies hat on.
Oh, yeah.
We okay. No Sixers apparel after my Knicks spanked you guys.
Nah, I'm repping the high school alma mater tonight, man. So I'm doing well.
There you go. I even got the Christmas tree up in the background. I love it, Tony. I thought I was the only guy who had the Christmas tree up in the apartment already. It's what is it, November 12th? I thought I was the only one.
November 1st, Joe. November 1st. My 6 Christmas trees in this house from my wife. So, and that's mine. So.
Okay, you know what? All right, so you are a little. I thought I was crazy. I got 1 up. You got 6 up. Maybe you are a little crazy, but that's why we love you, Tony. Let's get some DFS winners on the board. Tony, if a guy's hot, why not go back to him? We got a repeat offender at quarterback. Who are you looking at this week?
Yeah, man. When you play DFS, it's all about the numbers. And Justin Herbert just continues to be underpriced, in my opinion. 5,300. Listen, all you need to do is look at what Jalen did against Cincinnati. Look what Lamar did against Cincinnati. 11 touchdowns and 1 interception this year. And by the way, last week he had 78% completion percentage. And here's the most important thing. He had a high ankle sprain in the beginning of the year. And the last 2 weeks, he has over 83 rushing yards and a touchdown. And guess what? He had 21 fantasy points last week on only 18 attempts. Wow. So you look at guys that were overpriced. He outscored guys that were 6,500 and 7,000. So I'm going to go right back to Justin Herbert again this week.
The Cincinnati offense is among the best in football. No one's beating their chest talking about how good the Bengals defense is. This might be a good spot at a good value. This is only, $100 more than his price a week ago. I like it. Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. All right, let's talk ground game here for a little bit. You went with a team, with a guy going up against the Bengals. That was a great Thursday night game, Cincinnati and Baltimore. How about a running back taking on the Ravens, who do have one of the best running defenses in the league? Tony, what's the play here?
They do, but they have one of the worst defenses against pass catching running backs, which is what Jalen Warren is right now. He's 5,300. Again, you got to try to find value in DFS, right? Anybody can pick those $8,000 running backs, but Jalen Warren has 35 carries in his last 3 games, which means they're consistently giving it to him, but he's got 2+ catches. And he's got over a 7+ yard per catch, which means he's getting 10+ points without scoring a touchdown. So that's very, very important. So you saw what Chase Brown was able to 9 catches last week against his defense. So I'm all in on Jalen Warren this week.
I love it. I love that angle right there with the Ravens being great against the run, but finding an aspect of the game where a running back can still burn them. All right, slightly higher priced beef right here for a team that's laying close to 2 full touchdowns. Who do you like on this Lions offense? It might not be the running back people are expecting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, trying to find value on this DFS slate from the running back is really hard this week because there's a lot of overpriced backs. But I think David Montgomery is actually underpriced against a terrible Jacksonville Jaguars defense. He's 6,500, and he's been extremely consistent. He has 29 carries in his last 2 games, and only 2 games all year he's been under 10. And both of those games he's had 9. So he's always involved. And here's the most important part. Even though Jahmyr Gibbs is the more dynamic back, he's been more involved in the receiving game as Monty, with 5 targets in the last 2 games. So against a Jacksonville team where they may just run and run and run, this could be Monty's game where he could get in the end zone twice in this game.
Don't believe he had a touchdown against Houston on Sunday night. Not too common over the past year and a half that Monty goes back-to-back games without a score. I love the play, Tony. All right, let's get into the receivers. You got 3 of them. You're spoiling us this week. The first one, Monday night action. Little primetime battle of the Texas teams, Houston Dallas. You went bargain bin shopping with this one. I mean, we're going to have Nico Collins back, but who are you looking to Monday Night Football?
Yeah, listen, Nico's back, but I always stress this, right? When you have those soft tissue hamstring injuries, you just never know. You'd never know. And one thing I saw last week with John Mechie is the rapport he had with CJ Stroud, 574 and 1, but a 15-yard per catch average, something that he couldn't get done to Tank Dell. So I think even with Nico back, Mechie really submits himself into that Stephon Diggs role. And let's be honest, man, Dallas is just completely done. That team is just done. Hang it up. It's over. So for 4,400, there's not many players that you're going to get in that price range that are going to give you double-digit DFS points this week.
I love the play. I mean, you look at Dallas, and we'll get to this later on in the program, but the Micah Parsons calling out Mike McCarthy, and look, I'm never going to complain when there's drama going on with the Cowboys. I love to see things go up in flames down there in Dallas. All right, this is your highest price receiver of the week. It's a guy who's paired with a quarterback that you've gone to quite a few times in this spot. What do you like from the Broncos offense against Atlanta?
Yeah, listen, man, I like to blow you away with some numbers, Joe. I really do. Like a couple weeks ago, right? I threw the DeAndre Swift number out there that nobody understood. He was a number 2 fantasy running back in all of football for over the past 5 weeks. Well, Courtland Sutton, and he's underpriced. I'm sorry, 5,900. He's the number 4 fantasy wide receiver the last 3 weeks and the number 9 fantasy receiver the last 5 weeks. So people have to remember this guy really finished strong last year, except for the last 2 games. I mean, he had a stretch of 7 games that were in high 19, 18, 19, 20, and 21. He has the highest yards per catch since 2020 at 13 and a half. Oh, by the way, he has 30 targets, 21 catches, 292 yards, and 1 touchdown with a 19.2 points per game average in his last 3 games. There's no way against Atlanta that you're not starting Courtland Sutton.
Bo Nix getting a little more comfortable throwing the ball. I mean, there were games, even games Denver won. The guy was at negative passing yards at halftime, getting a little more comfortable throwing, and it helps when you got, I would say, I don't know if elite is the word, but a top tier receiver in Courtland Sutton that the rookie is throwing to. All right, this next play I love because this one just screams chemistry. This is a total chemistry play, new QB in Cleveland. Who are you and Jameis Winston targeting this week?
Yeah, I think this is an easy one, man. It really is. Listen, Cedric Tillman, 5,300 against the Saints. 32 targets in his last 3 games. He's already shown, listen, this is Jameis Winston's guy. And you look at what's happening with the New Orleans Saints. They get rid of Dennis Allen, who was a defensive-minded coach. They give up the 3rd most points to all wide receivers. Oh, and by the way, there's no Marshawn Lattimore. So this defense is reeling. Tillman is climbing. So to me, this is a very, very easy play for 5,300.
Tony, I'm curious. Did you, just while we're focused on that Cleveland-New Orleans game, did you give a look to Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Or is his price, is he overpriced? I mean, $4,900 a week ago. Now at most shops, it looks like he's closer to $6,000, $5,800, $5,900. Is that just too big of a jump for a guy who you'd imagine is probably due for a dash of regression?
Yeah, listen, I look at consistency and I look at MVS as being 2 huge plays to give them in both numbers. So if it was like a line of 12 targets and 8 catches and, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, fine. But when you have those 2 big plays and you've never been that kind of receiver in the past, I have to kind of let you prove yourself a couple weeks before I jump in on that price.
Yeah, well, we know who he is in this New Orleans playbook. He's the fill-in for Rashid Shaheed. Yep. I mean, they made that very obvious. They might not have an Olave, but they found the replacement for Shaheed. You've also got a tight end play. Of course, these are always going to be cheaper, lower prices here. It goes with one of your other plays. Who you like at tight end?
Yeah, listen, man. How about my man Will Dissly, the ex-Seattle Seahawk, taking over the top tight end role out there in Charger land with Justin Herbert? There's no secret that Justin Herbert has been going to Will Dissly. 3,200, you're getting a tight end that has 27 targets his last 4 games. So this guy could be very, very good for you as a streaming option, especially in DFS.
And you also think Disley is worth picking up on the waiver wire for the rest of the season?
In a league when season long, where the options are very limited in tight ends, especially with a lot of guys hurt, 100%. This guy, like I said, he's been the go-to guy for Justin Herbert, and he just keeps getting better.
Tony, as always, great stuff. I can't wait for your Thursday night football props. We'll see if there's a little homerism in these. His Eagles are playing Thursday night against the Commanders, laying 3.5, depending on where you look. Thursday night props with our guy Tony Cutillo up next on Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.